The day I took down an HOA tyrant. Some lands hold more than dirt, and trees they hold promises. My 11-year-old nephew, Tommy, built his first wheelchair ramp on our family's 10-acre pine forest, his hands trembling from spinal surgery, but his smile wide as the horizon. That ramp was his bridge to freedom, a shaky but proud step toward reclaiming a childhood stolen by cancer. Then Margaret, the new HOA president, stormed in and pushed him off it, as if he were littering her perfect suburb. She didn't know this land was my father's legacy. She didn't know what I kept in the barn. And she sure didn't know I'd spent years leading a tactical response team. But she learned fast when her SUV crumpled like tinfoil and she dangled from my tractor, screaming for mercy. So, ask yourself, when someone hurts your family, do you dial 911 or fire up the engine? Tommy and I came to these woods to escape. The city had suffocated us, hospital rooms reeking of antiseptic, doctors' pitying glances, the endless hum of machines. Cancer took a year of Tommy's life and most of the feeling in his legs. Surgery saved him, but it left scars, inside and out. So we fled to the last untouched stretch of my father's land, a place he called the Haven. It was 10 acres of pine and silence, a refuge he'd refused to sell despite countless offers. Tommy and I built a ramp together, rough, uneven, but enough to get his wheelchair from the dirt to our patched-up cabin. He'd hold nails with unsteady fingers, paint with slow strokes, and grin when the wind sang through the trees. At night, under the porch light, he'd ask, "Will I ever run again, Uncle Dan?" I'd say, "You'll outrun the wind, kid. But fear not at me." I worried something would shatter this fragile peace. It did. Her name was Margaret, and she arrived on a crisp Tuesday, uninvited, striding past our private property sign like it was a suggestion. In her early 50s, with lacquered hair and a clipboard clutched like a scepter, she was flanked by 2 HOA lackeys in neon vests. "I wasn't informed anyone could build structures in the community greenbelt," she said, her voice syrupy but sharp. I wiped sawdust from my hands on the porch. "This isn't a greenbelt. It's my land. 3 generations deep." Her smile was thin. Charming, but the HOA expanded its oversight zone. "You're in it now. That ramp, shed, cabin all need approval." My jaw tightened. "We're not in your HOA. Never signed a thing." She ignored me, crouched, and snapped photos of Tommy's ramp like it was evidence. Tommy peeked from the doorway, unsure. Margaret's eyes narrowed. "Is he disabled?" she asked, like it was a crime. I stepped forward. "He's recovering. You're done here." She stood, unfazed. "Aggression toward HOA officials is reportable." I laughed, cold. "Trespassing's a crime." She smirked, clipboard snapping shut. "Expect a violation notice." As she strutted off, Tommy whispered, "Why does she hate my ramp?" I had no answer, just a burning in my chest. The woods felt colder. The real blow came 2 days later. I was in the barn sorting tools when a thud broke the silence, followed by Tommy's scream. I sprinted to the cabin. Tommy lay twisted in the dirt, his wheelchair tipped, blood trickling from his temple. Margaret stood over him, her smug smile intact. "What did you do?" I warned. She didn't flinch. "He was reckless. Nearly hit my foot." Tommy's voice shook. "She pushed me, Uncle Dan. She shoved me." Margaret scoffed. "Don't be dramatic." I tapped the chair. "That ramp's unsafe, too steep. No rails." I did him a favor. I knelt beside Tommy, my hand curling into a fist. "You touched a child. On my land." She stepped back. "I enforced safety protocols. You people can't build whatever you want just because you've got a sob story. You people." The words lit a fuse. She added, "If you can't keep him quiet, maybe this isn't your place." My vision narrowed. She turned, brushing her sleeve, oblivious to the line she'd crossed. I let the leash slip. I stormed to the barn, yanked open the lockbox, and grabbed the machete I hadn't touched since Dad's funeral. Its handle still smelled of pine and steel. Then I reached for the gas can. Margaret was 50 yards away, barking orders at her HOA goons. They didn't hear the tractor roar to life, but they felt it. The John Deere 410 growled, hungry. I steered for the flimsy HOA fence they'd staked around Tommy's ramp on my land. The blade tore through it like paper, splinters flying, their red HOA sign snapping under the treads. Margaret spun, mouth agape. I didn't stop. I swung the blade and slammed her white SUV, caving its rear panel with a deafening crunch. Glass shattered. She screamed, "What are you doing?" I climbed down, eyes locked on hers. "You wanted proof?" Here it is. I snatched her phone and smashed it against a tree. She stumbled back, fear flickering in her eyes. You laid hands on my nephew. You called him a problem. You trespassed and claimed my blood. I stepped closer. Your rules don't apply here. She spat. Call the cops. Her goons froze, underpaid and outmatched. You're not leaving, I said, grabbing steel netting and rope from the tractor. She barked, get away, but I'd faced worse in combat zones. In one motion, I looped the rope behind her elbows, yanked her down, and hog-tied her wrists. She kicked, cursed, and screamed. I cinched the netting over her shoulders and hooked it to the tractor's crane arm. Up she went, dangling, her dress flapping, voice shredding the air. You're insane, she shrieked. I squatted beside her. No, I'm done pretending your clipboard makes you God. I started a live stream. This is Margaret, HOA president, child assaulter, trespasser, caught after shoving a recovering kid off his ramp and trying to steal land that's not hers. Comments flooded in. Call the sheriff. She deserves worse. Margaret sobbed. I lowered her just enough for her toes to graze the dirt. Want mercy? Tell the truth. Her voice cracked. I didn't mean to hurt him. I leaned in. You meant to control him. That's worse. I ended the stream. Sheriff's got the video. They'll be here soon. Then, quietly, I added, if Tommy doesn't walk again, neither will you. The sheriff's cruiser rolled up 20 minutes later. Deputy Harris, a grizzled veteran, I'd seen Margaret dangling, her SUV wrecked, the fence in splinters. Explanation? He asked. Full video, I said, tapping my phone. She trespassed, assaulted Tommy, vandalized my land, tried to annex it. Harris whistled. Hell. His partner approached Margaret. You okay, ma'am? She pleaded. I was protecting the neighborhood. He attacked me. Harris cut in. We saw the stream, Margaret, and the 10 emails from your board resigning this morning. Her face crumpled. They cuffed her, unhooking her carefully. I didn't watch. I walked to Tommy, still shaken but safe inside. Max, our old hound, thumped his tail. Is she gone? Tommy asked. For now, I said. She's not coming back. It didn't end there. The video exploded online. HOA tyrant caught assaulting disabled kid, hoisted like garbage. Neighbors I barely knew left voicemails, confessing Margaret's bullying, pressuring complaints, and tampering with mailboxes. 6 of 9 HOA board members quit within a day. The local paper screamed. HOA Scandal rocks suburb. My name was everywhere. The man with the tractor. Reporters camped at the wood's edge. I ignored them. I wasn't proud. I was furious it had to happen. The sheriff called. Margaret faced charges: assault, trespassing, property destruction, and child endangerment. Judge denied bail, he said. I exhaled but didn't celebrate. Then a state official knocked at dusk. The video had reached the governor. They wanted me to testify for laws curbing HOA overreach. I glanced at Tommy, his arm in a sling, but his smile back, petting Max. Yeah, I said. I'll speak. Margaret hadn't just phalanged exposed a system. I'd make sure it changed. The courtroom smelled of polish and tension. Neighbors, reporters, and even other HOA heads filled the seats. Margaret sat, gray-suited, defiant despite her puffy eyes. Tommy sat beside me, silent but strong. The prosecutor played the video, Margaret flailing, my voice naming her crimes. Medical records followed. Tommy's bruises, the wrist to his spine. The sheriff detailed Margaret's intimidation tactics, backed by leaked emails. I took the stand. Steady. She didn't just push a child. She tried to erase him. Margaret's lawyer objected. The judge overruled. Margaret testified, fake tears and all, calling me unstable, claiming she protected Tommy from a hazard. The prosecutor pressed. Did you push a disabled minor? She faltered. I don't remember it that way. No further questions. The jury took 40 minutes. Guilty: assault, trespassing, child endangerment, property destruction, abuse of power. The judge's voice was steel. You weaponized leadership, harmed a vulnerable child. 12 years, no parole for 6. Margaret screamed, calling it a witch hunt. The room applauded as they cuffed her. Outside, Tommy squinted at the sky. She looked small today. I smiled. She always was. The aftermath wasn't quiet. Headlines roared. The governor pushed HOA reform with my testimony. Boards statewide rewrote charters. Margaret's name became a warning. But what stayed with me was Tommy. He wheeled to the ramp again, hammer in hand, planning to rebuild it stronger, maybe carve our name into it. We burned Margaret's fence remnants, flames eating her authority. Neighbors brought pies, tools, indie apologies. One man, tears in his eyes, helped fix the ramp, saying, "I thought silence was safe. I was wrong. I didn't blame them." Margaret's weapon was fear, sharpened by silence. But silence was dead here. We carved a sign from an old cabinet. "You are now entering Haven Land. Come with respect or turn around." Tommy grinned, hammering it up. "She's not coming back, right?" I shook my head. "Never." The state sent a plaque for the legislative fight. I nailed it to Dad's oldest tree, planted in '52. One evening, Tommy zoomed down the ramp, arms raised, shouting, "Still standing." My heart pounded. This wasn't about revenge, it was about roots, legacy, love. This story isn't just about Margaret or a ramp. It's about the quiet wars families fight to protect what's theirs. It's about power suburban or not growing dangerously when unchecked. Silence isn't neutral, it's a choice. But when one person draws a line, everything shifts. Justice isn't always in courtrooms. Sometimes it's in the dirt, in a ramp rebuilt by a kid who won't break, in a community finding its spine. What would you do if someone like Margaret crossed your land? Would you stay calm or fight back? Share your thoughts below, especially on violence, justice, and standing against bullies. Tell us where you stand. Your voice matters. Like, subscribe, and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Let's keep the truth alive.